So here we have a winter wonderland. I actually just cleaned Chuck off. Quick going to the post office. I figured, what better way to celebrate the snowy snow than take a quick country drive. And then at the end of this, I'll wind out doing a mail time inside when I get back. Just thank everybody that sent mail, and go from there. Give a quick little update, things like that. But it was fun. On Saturday, I got to go up to Likens. I had a gift card to a Shell gas station from a friend, and there just aren't that many Shell stations around. And the one that is nearby in Hershey, unfortunately, they have all their pumps shut down right now. So so the nearest other one was Likens. I didn't want to go to Harrisburg because they have a couple there, but so until you get up there, you pretty much probably spend that in gas. But I figured while I was up there, go and do a couple films and do that. And then this storm sort of came out of nowhere because the evil groundhog said spring is coming in 6 weeks, which is technically within the 6 weeks, but he's still a liar. But so I figured I'll get myself out. Had to wait for the plow guy to come and do the driveway. I could have maybe gotten out earlier because I had a hyperbaric chamber treatment, and then but I was like, with the guy not getting there till after the treatment would have been, who wound out canceling it for the day, so it'll just get moved back. And then next Friday will be the last day that I do the hyperbaric, which I'm looking forward to because it certainly helped, but there also is a certain point where you're just sort of like, I just want to move on and start having a semi-normal schedule again and go from there. But anywho, it's all good. Sort of this flu stuff that's all going around, I had sort of dodged that left and right, but wound out getting again last week. I got some kind of bit of the flu bug. I still have excuse me, a little bit of cough from that. It's feeling reasonably good, but when I went and got all that snow off the vehicle, plus I get my hands get like cold from doing that stuff, and it's painful. But I don't enjoy the cold at all. Not that I ever did, but I handled it a lot better than I do now. But let me turn that up a little bit more, get this warm in here. But anyways, my hope is, I mean, this sort of threw a little bit of a wrench in, and I think the next week is supposed to be pretty brutally cold. But I did get another video going that I gotta do a little bit more of the audio work and pictures on the town of Likens, hometown foundations, and then a couple other things that I want to try to start getting on. So hopefully maybe instead of it being every like 3 weeks, a little more than 3 weeks that we've been having a video, and it all just being basically vlog type stuff, hopefully I'll wind out, start getting videos up again and go on from there. And then as I'm working more, starting after 2 weeks when I have more money, I can afford to start driving out all over the place. And I think too, once we get to the end of February, that will probably, hopefully this last 7 cold days that we're gonna have supposedly will be sort of the last gasp of winter, and then I can sort of start going out and doing some filming again, and start moving the channel forward from there. we might wind out revisiting a couple places just to get back out there, start feeling better about filming and all that kind of stuff, just to get back out and get my feel back, because it really has been very sporadic since the surgery. It's just sort of been, my mobility is finally getting to the place where it's not painful to walk anymore. Tomorrow is the second skin graft, or TheraSkin. They basically, I don't know what it's not actually like an actual skin graft, where they take skin from part of you or whatever and put it on the place that needs the graft. This is something where it's basically a $6 million man thing, where they have this fake stuff that promotes skin growth from the inside out of the wound. And so the last one adhered to about 25% of the wound, and the wound decreased by about 30%. It's pretty big where the surgery was. So it's going to be one of those things that is going to take a little while. They figure maybe about 5 times we'll wind out having to do this. So basically, you know, every 2 weeks you wind out applying a new skin graft or a TheraSkin. So this will be quite a bit of a process in that regard. And I also was sort of taught a lesson last week of what my limits are as well, walking wise. So I still have to maintain not doing a ton of walking, because it's too much for my foot right now. So we'll figure out at some point, especially once the thing's fully healed, what I'm capable of handling and what I'm not capable of handling, and go from there. But definitely everything looks on the up and up, and feeling a lot better. So thank you once again to all of you for your continued prayers and your thoughts, and as we're going to talk about here in a little bit, all the cards and notes that you guys have sent, the gifts are really quite appreciated, because it's been a long haul, and those things definitely do bring the spirit up and help you to approach everything in a better way. Because this has been, I think to a degree, you sort of, everybody has their limits with these types of things. And I think that last hospital visit sort of kicked my tail a little bit, and it just sort of took the wind out of my sails. Like, I'm feeling good now. I'm starting to feel on the up and up again, but that one thing sort of, I don't know, you want to call it the breaking point for you. You're just like, I'm done. I want to just, you know, I don't want to keep on having the yardstick move forward on me anymore. I just sort of want to get this healed, get it done, and move on with life. And that way I have the opportunity, hopefully, come early summer, another 6 months from now, I can seek out, hopefully, being able to work steadily enough that I can actually get my own place and sort of have my life again. Because I'm starting to make some plans of like stuff that I want to start getting on, like my writing again and things of that nature, to hopefully get myself, and depending on how things work out with Visit Lebanon Valley and that type of stuff, maybe start looking at what is possible from here on out, and hopefully can wind out sort of having newer, better opportunities that are better for me in the long haul physically. So, but it's going well, and I just wanted to take you guys out. It was really beautiful earlier, because this is a very soft, well, it's not soft, it's a very wet, heavy snow. So that type of snow sticks to everything. So all the poor trees had a ton of weight on them, but it was beautiful. I just didn't get out in enough of time to take pictures of all that, and like I was hoping to, but the sun came out about 2 or 3 hours earlier, and then just everything started dropping off the trees, and by then, once the stuff's dropped off the trees, it just doesn't have the same effect. But I don't know what is going on here. Anywho, but yeah, it's definitely beautiful. I feel bad for the people up in like Tremont Pine Grove, up in that area where we just went on Saturday. Apparently a lot of them, even in my own stomping grounds at Greenpoint, you know, this type of heavy snow winds up taking trees down, and with the winds that were coming through as well, it dropped a lot of people off the power. So I feel for them. But all right, I'm about to make my turn, go back to the post office. I always thought this is so beautiful here at this church. This is an old EC church, and the stained glass there is just glorious. It's now an art studio, but for the college. But anyways, as always, I want to say thanks everybody for coming along, and we will see you on the next adventure. And we're gonna do the cards next. Thanks everybody. Hey everybody, so this is the card section of the video. I'm actually filming this a couple days later. It's just sort of been a little out of a little tired. Like I said, I think in the video I had got a little bit of whatever cold was that was going around, and it's what it is. But I wanted to do these cards, and I actually got another one when I went to that post office, and so I wanted to do this card video and then just talk a little bit. I'm hoping we're on Friday, and I think we have a little bit of a cold spell going through here for maybe about a week. I'm hoping that's it, because it looks like by next weekend we're starting to be back up in the 50s, and going into March it looks like it's the temperatures are finally going up. So every now and then, it always seems like every winter you have 1 week in March maybe that's a little weirdy, but I'm hoping I'll be able to, because I'm feeling good enough now that I feel like I can go out and do videos, live videoing again, and start getting that going. But hopefully by next weekend, start getting out. It's a little too cold right now, I think, to film this week, unless there's a day that it just sort of works, and then we'll go from there. But I do have another video I got to do from Likens when I was up there, when I did the rail station video. I did one on the hometown foundations where they have those iron signs. They don't have theirs, much like Wummelsdorf is the other one that I can think of that's like this. Most of them, if they still have those signs, because a lot of them were put in the 30s and 40s, and they're iron, so they eventually just fall apart. Now, townships will maintain them to a degree, and they'll fix them up again and put them back out, but usually they're at the limits of the town. Likens, much like Wummelsdorf, they actually have it sort of in the town park. Usually it's veteran related, that type of stuff, and that's where that one is, the Likens video, or the Likens town sign. Usually they had 2 or 3, because some of the towns had 3, some even had 4, depending on if they had major north-south and major east-west routes. But sadly, a lot of the towns, maybe only 1 survived, and sometimes none, because I know like the town of Raresburg, they were supposed to have 2 or 3 at some point, and I can't find any of them. Now, I might be missing something, but that does happen quite a bit, because you're talking almost 100 years old, some of these signs now, and being that they're iron, they just, over time, that or they get stolen too, because they had like the Pennsylvania historic markers, the Fort Henry sign out where like Cliff used to live in the Bethel region, that one just like disappeared. The same thing with the Charming Forge historic marker, and neither one of those has been replaced. So which is a shame. because both places are quite neat. But so let's get into the cards. This first one is from Jay. I love it with the puppies there together. And the message, thank you, Jay, and thank you for the gift. It always is really cool to receive these cards. It's something to look forward to. Thank you to Michael. Once again, he always says, "Country roads take me home." Thank you for the gift that was in there. It was good hearing from you, and thank you for the message. Jay as well, thank you for the message. We have a card here from Kate. Really quite cool. Thank you once again, Kate, for the message, for the gift. These cards mean a lot because it's like right now, it's been sort of rough because, that fourth hospital visit sort of kicked me in the tail. And I think I'm doing well. And you see, like I said before, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I'm extraordinarily exhausted. And part of that is hyperbaric. One of the results of it is your cells aren't used to working at 100% oxygen. So it's sort of, I guess the best explanation is it makes your cells work a little harder. So with your cells working a little bit harder, which is good because it's healing you, it also wears you out. So very tired yet right now. And then, going through a couple of these colds, but I've gotten over them pretty quickly, which is a sign that my brain's not working. It's also early in the morning. I'm doing this before I go to the hyperbaric on Friday, but my immune system, couldn't think there for a second, but my immune system is definitely getting better because some of these things that I got the last two, and everybody's getting them, normally they would have turned into bronchitis or pneumonia. That's what would have happened before. So clearly this is working. I feel cognitively like I'm getting better, more clear, and those types of things. But these cards really do, like, they help. The messages that you guys send, how kind you guys are, it really means a lot because it's been a rough last 4 years, and I think I sort of hit a wall. I'm very resilient. Channel has helped me get through and stuff like that, but it's been one of those things where you sort of know that you're hitting your limits with things, and you're just sort of tired. You're exhausted physically, but you're exhausted emotionally and psychologically as well because it's in a way it's not ending, and you got the exasperation as well of like, what are you gonna do going forward work wise, because until this foot's closed up, it does make a difference. So maybe when the foot's closed up and we're done doing the skin grafts and it's healed, it'll feel different. But I can tell like my walking's more difficult because not having that outer bone, the balance back and forth wise is a little funky. But that may also be just because I only have like 20% feeling on the left side because of all the nerve damage that was done from the sciatic nerve getting pinched really hard there back in 2012, and it sort of killed it to a degree. So the nerves down my left side, especially down into the foot, it's a blessing and it's a curse. A blessing in when they are working on me and they're sort of sewing the thing in, I don't really feel anything. Now I'll feel it like with next couple days if he has to work on me, because I develop tissue matter very well, but I also develop sort of another layer on top that he has to sort of debride, cut away. Not that fun, and I bleed like a sieve. So I have good blood flow. It hurts. So when I feel something, I know I'm hurting. But even when you're not feeling it, your body's still stressing because of it. So that probably helps with the exhaustion as well. But I will admit, emotionally and sort of some of those things, I got really, really tired. Part of the reason I'm having trouble responding, part of the reason I'm even having trouble posting videos is I'm a little depressed. It happens to us all. I talked to the doctor yesterday about it, and we're going to figure out the best route forward to try to sort of get me through this, because I've had that before, 2012. when I lost my job with Hershey. My dad had just passed, and then they started tormenting the crap out of me. It's. I made another country roads take me home when I was going with a friend to Pool Forge. We're gonna go. He and I are gonna go back. We actually went to an aptly named town called Churchtown. That is beautiful Episcopalian church that was built in the late 1700s. I took some photos for Instagram for that, but I didn't video at all. I didn't even get out to take photos of Pool Forge, which I sort of wish I had done that now. But part of the reason why I didn't, because he had offered, said, do you want to get out and do stuff? I just felt like because I had gotten a skin graft the day before and I had bled so bad, I was worried that I'd wind up doing damage to the skin graft and didn't actually go out and do it then. But I did a Country Roads Take Me Home going from like Kleinfeldersville to Stevens, Pennsylvania. And part of it, which I'm probably going to take that part out, I guess. I don't know. It's sort of difficult for me because I think anytime you talk about mental health, there's that stigma and shame if you aren't feeling at your best, but there shouldn't be. And I guess part of it is because it's something I've always struggled with from when I was a teen. It is something we need to talk about. It's something that, I've talked to Kate about this a little bit and a couple other people where I'm at. And then had a good conversation with the doctor yesterday. It's like, I'm not like suicidal or anything like that, but just to show how like weird, I like to watch the Facebook reels and stuff like that. Well, like, of course, half of them are about the depression. It's like, shoot, seriously? Something weird going on there. But some of them were good to hear. But it is one of those things that I think sometimes we take for granted. And then sometimes I think we're afraid to talk about it because, like I said, there is that stigma. And it's sort of like, oh, I gotta always be strong. And really, you know what? It was funny. The one thing the doctor said to me is like, he said, I'm sort of shocked that you're doing as well as you have been doing because he said, considering what you've gone through over the last 4 years, it's a lot. And it is. And I'm self-aware enough to understand that I'm at a place where I'm struggling to do basic stuff. And a lot of that probably has to do with the physical exhaustion because it's a lot. I'm getting better, but and I think that's tiresome because it's frustrating because I like to be active, but I also am very aware that I need to be very cautious so I'm not hurting myself and, making 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And I'm listening to what everybody's saying because you guys have been very good with that and saying, just take your time. And I'm doing that. But it's hard for me to do that because I feel like there's that part of you that you feel like you're failing the channel, failing everybody that's invested so much in you. And it was cool on Monday at the wound center. I actually ran into a lady. I'm not sure if I say something earlier in the video or not when we're doing the Country Roads winter edition. But she was such a sweetheart. And she's like, hey, are you John, your hometown historian? And then I said, yeah, and we talked. She's like, I'll watch your channel. I said, thank you for watching the channel. So thank you for watching the channel. I really do appreciate that. It meant a lot to me. And that happens more and more where you run into people that know your channel. And it was sort of a couple of ladies there, the nurses were saying, oh, you're your fan club or something. I was like, yeah. So that happens more and more. But as I've always said, thank you, everybody. I still got a couple cards here. I can't forget those. This channel has been very, very good for me. It's given me a purpose. It's gotten me through what has really been by far the hardest time in my life. I think you have moments where you're tired of being in pain. You're tired of being unhealthy, even though you're getting better. It's still one of those things. It's like you don't want every single day to be a struggle. And basic things like walking, or if I show up to go see my mom and the parking lot's pretty much full, I sort of have to drive away and maybe come back later because some days I'm just so exhausted and trying to walk that distance is just too much. And those are the type of struggles. Sometimes I think some of them are small. There are some bigger ones that are going on right now that are sort of frustrating and hurt quite a bit. But so there's a lot of things that are also weighing on my mind with things that are going on that are just rough sometimes. But we're getting through. I'm getting the help that I need to keep on going and to get better again. And I'm hoping with what we're doing, the first steps that we're taking, it'll take 2 to 3 weeks before we start to feel the effects. But it's what we need to do, and I want to look at some more natural type things as well, and figure out what the best path forward, and start feeling more like myself, and getting back to doing things. God, I look horrible. Just didn't sleep great last night. I was like, I don't feel like trying to sleep an extra half an hour before I start taking my meds and getting ready to go to hyperbaric. But thank you once again, everybody. I really do, from the deepest part of my heart. The kindness you guys have shown me and how awesome you guys have been has been amazing. It really has. It's, I talk about constantly outside of here and even with this channel, that those little acts of kindness save a life and keep people going through. And it's just, I don't know how many times I've gone, just something simple like, going to the post office and there's a card there and there's just a really kind message or a gift that helps get me through to the next week. And those things mean a lot. They really do mean a lot. And none of you have to do that. And you've been very generous and kind to me and gotten me through this period of time in my life. So I can't say thank you enough. I really can't. So thank you guys. Next card, we got, this one actually is from Sylvia and Bob. Thank you for the gift, guys. That really means a lot. Really neat card and cool message. I really do appreciate it. It's very cool getting the cards from you all. And the last card, this is the one I got on Tuesday, because it would have, I think it was Tuesday, because it was after the snowstorm. Unfortunately, I wanted to do a bunch of pictures because it was like a really wet snow, so the wet snow's cling to everything and makes it really pretty with the trees. But the sun came out about 2 hours earlier than it was supposed to, and ultimately I wound out sort of everything sort of slid off the trees. I was like, well, that defeats the purpose of that. But I was like, I'll go out to go see Mom, because the roads got a lot better later in the day. And and I went to the post office because I wanted to go stop by there. I had some stuff in my personal box that I knew had shown up and I had to grab. And there was a card waiting for me. And this is from Jay. And this one I'm going to read because this one, not the personal message, but the card itself. This one meant a lot to me, Jay, because it's part of the reason I just discussed where I'm at. Is sometimes it seems like life is 2 steps forward and 1 step back. In those frustrating moments, it can be easy to forget how far you've come. But promise me, you'll never forget how amazing you are and how many people care about you, because a lot of people do, especially me. Like that meant a lot. That meant a lot. Because it's like, especially at the time that we are right now, sometimes you get that thing, like a card, somebody, just a kind gesture, a smile, whatever it is. And it hits you different. And this hit different. So, Jay, once again, thank you for the card. Thank you for the gift as well. This meant a lot. And, you guys really are phenomenal. I'm extraordinarily blessed and lucky to have you guys with this channel. And I can't say thank you enough. But I'm hoping by next Saturday, right now, with the weather, you never know. Gusts, or not Gus, Puxatawny Phil's a liar. A little stinker. Oh, there's only 6 more weeks of winter and it's going to be great and it's not going to be that bad. And then we get another nasty snowstorm, which it was pretty, but I just felt bad for all the people north of us. Like a ton of people lost power because the weight of the snow is extremely heavy snow And then with the winds with it, it really took down. I think they still had some areas back in Greenpoint, near Greenpoint, more towards Indian Town Gap, near Moonshine Church. They still had the road closed because of how many trees came down and the wires came down and all that. So I feel bad for them. At least we didn't lose power here or anything like that. But I'm hoping, way they're saying right now, temperature-wise, it looks like we got one more nasty week of windy, because it's pretty windy today. And, in that 30-degree, which I don't enjoy. So I'm going to try. I have that lichens video I need to finish. I also want to start, there's a new series that I want to come up with the thing before the video starts, the animatic, I guess you can say, where it says, I didn't know that about my hometown history. I came up with a pretty cool idea that I think will be fun, and I just have to figure out how to do it because my technologically unsavvy defeats me in a lot of places. There's things I want to do, and it's like, you don't have the ability, John, you suck. But I think I figured out how to do it. I just have to time it right to get words to pop up one at a time. As I say, I didn't know that about my hometown history. But I'm going to start with, it's actually off of another video, and one of the viewers said something about that. I didn't know that, and it's, credit goes to you. I'll have to give the name because that's still on in my YouTube studio. It gives you your comments, and they're like the third comment that they say about, like, they never knew that about the Mason-Dixon line. I never knew it either. Like, the reason behind it, you think, oh, it's a survey thing, which it was, to get that border between Pennsylvania and Maryland. But there was a reason that they needed a border there. Most of the states had like a river or something that was some kind of topographical feature that would be, this is where the boundary of the state is, or colony at that time. And you got to remember, the colonies, they sort of just went westward and didn't end per se because that was the frontier. So the western boundary lines of a lot of these states, unless you were like New Jersey or one of the New England states, if you were Pennsylvania, and even I think New York, but like Virginia, a bunch of those different states, they just sort of went westward, and there wasn't a westward boundary, if you will. So with Pennsylvania and Maryland, it was a straight line, and I think there was a general idea of where that line was supposed to be between the colonies, but it was more a suggestion than an actual line. So because of this event that happened, the British government realized we need to actually have a verified line so nothing more happens. It was basically a bunch of grown men slapping each other, but, thankfully nobody got killed apparently. But we're going to go into that and talk a little bit more about that Cresap's War, which is what caused the reason for the Mason-Dixon line. It's a little hilarious, too, because of how silly it is, because neighbors can't get along. But it's a great story, and it's not one that a lot of people know. And I vaguely reference it, like very shortly, because it's a short that I do on Columbia, Pennsylvania, on the Pennsylvania Historic Marker. And I haven't done the long form of that because I actually want to go into the history of Columbia. But that particular story, I thought, that would make a great new series and be more the direction that I want to go with different unique series that sort of, it's got a little more pizzazz, a little bit more scripted, and I think that would make for a good series. But anyways, so I'm hoping by next Saturday, it's looking like it's going to start going up into the 50s, and it won't be so bad to go running about in the wild and freezing my keister off. But I got a lot of things. I want to start getting that Visit Lebanon Valley series started with the Franklin House. There's actually a couple places there in Schaeferstown, like Heidelberg Hall, I'd like to talk about. But there's so much to do for that series, and then start talking to them and see how we want to work together and that type of stuff, and then get the really good series started where it's very scripted. I'm going to get the professional movie camera out and start using that and see how that goes. But thank you as always, and we're doing well. I would continue to appreciate your prayers for me and my mom. She's still having some struggles with the UTIs and stuff like that. It's sort of little bit of a battle sometimes to get through to certain people's heads that we need to be a little more proactive and preventative with this to make sure that this isn't continuing, because one of them actually, when the last time I was in the hospital, she was in at the same time. It was actually septic, which we didn't know at the time. And, you know, UTIs are dangerous to begin with anybody that's older. But then when you add dementia into that, and then sepsis, you know, or septic like nature of an infection, it really gets dangerous for somebody that old, because her health isn't that great to begin with. So, you know, we're trying to look out for her and do everything we can to make her as comfortable as possible. But thank you as always, everybody. And thank you to everybody that sent the cards, everybody that's been so kind and generous with their messages and just everything in general. So, as always, thank you, and we'll see you all about town.